Oops. There we go. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Teams platform, the Teams meetings platform, I want to give you some pointers before we get started on how to navigate Teams. There's some, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor in the on the screen, but this section is in the upper right-hand corner of your meeting screen. And there's a couple of key buttons on here that I wanted to let you know about. The first one is the chat button. So clicking the chat button will open a dialog box on your screen, and it'll look like this down here in the bottom left-hand corner. It's an area where you can enter your question or your comment and post it to the group. And just wanted to make sure that after you do type it, you click this little airplane icon, paper airplane icon, to send it. If you are calling in, and I'm not sure if we have any callers yet, you can dial *5 to raise your hand. But if you are in the Teams meetings platform, you can use this hand icon here, and that'll raise your hand. And then clicking again will lower your hand. So for all questions, either in the chat or by raised hands, what we'll do is we'll address your question or call on you at the end of each agenda section. Clicking on the camera, this little button right here, will, if you have one available, it will turn your camera on. In order to save bandwidth, I'm hoping that everybody will just use their camera when they're speaking. And then the microphone button is the last one that I wanted to point out to you. This will activate or will mute your microphone. So please mute your microphone when you're not speaking in order to reduce the background noise. So do we have any questions at this point? All right. This is the agenda for today's meeting. We're going to have a little bit of a welcome. We're going to do a lot of introductions, get to know all of our new board members. We'll elect a Pesticide Advisory Board chair. We'll talk a little bit about the basic operations of the board, and then we'll talk about when do we want to meet next and where do we want to meet next. All right, so welcome to our first Pesticide Advisory Board meeting. It has really been a long road getting here. My name is Kelly Davis. I'm the Policy Assistant for Pesticide Management Division. I'm also the Pesticide Advisory Board Coordinator. Helping me today with the technical aspects of the meeting is Savannah Richard and Kevin Wynn, who is our official meetings minute taker. Savannah will be monitoring the chat and watching for raised hands. And then, first of all, thank you guys so much for coming. Also, thank you for your willingness and your commitment to be a part of this important board. We really appreciate it. Our board members have a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and have varied perspectives related to pesticides and their uses. So we, again, really appreciate you being here and being a part of this board. So for background, the Pesticide Advisory Board was established, well, actually it was re-established in the 2023 legislative session. And the purpose was to advise WSDA on topics related to the use of pesticides in Washington State. That is, except for the matters that are covered by the Pesticide Application Safety Committee, or PASCO. I'm not sure if he's in our meeting today, but I'd like to give a shout out to Representative Tom Dent, who introduced and sponsored the Pesticide Advisory Board bill. And as a reminder going forward, just while the board advises and makes recommendations to WSDA and Pesticide Management Division, the board doesn't have any regulatory authority. It's an advisory board only. So I want to make sure that you guys knew that. The reason that I mentioned that the Pesticide Advisory Board was re-established is because there used to be a Pesticide Advisory Board for 16 years, from 1994 to 2010. In 2010, it was struck from statute along with other statutorily established boards and committees as a cost-saving measure to the state because of the recession. So when you were appointed to the board, by WSDA Director Derek Sanderson. You received a fact sheet along with your appointment letter that provided an overview of PMD's pesticide programs and its responsibilities. Do we have a question? Okay. The fact sheet listed some other topics that could be addressed by the Pesticide Advisory Board as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. If you'd like a copy of the fact sheet, you can access it on the Pesticide Advisory Board website, or excuse me, webpage on the WSDA website. Do we have any questions from any of the board members? All right, I'll move on. So introductions. So the majority of our meeting today will be devoted to introductions. And we're going to do them in the same order as the representatives were listed in the legislation. So voting members will go first, followed by non-voting members, and then we'll finish up with Pesticide Management Division program managers and Pesticide Advisory Board coordination staff. As board members, it will be important for you to know about the pesticide programs, and this is a great opportunity for you to meet the managers. So I'm going to call your name. I'll read the position that you're representing on the board. I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. When I call your name, please unmute and turn on your camera. Savannah's going to be checking to make sure that that folks are here, if they're made it to the meeting or not. Once you introduce yourself, just give us a brief background and a little bit about your experience or for the position on the Pesticide Advisory Board. If you could keep it to 2 minutes, that would be great. We've got a lot of folks to introduce today. And then if you're attending for someone who is a board member but couldn't attend, just introduce yourself and let us know who you are attending for. So any questions on the introductions? All right, well, let's get started. The first board member is Ronald Klein, and he is a pesticide applicator licensed to operate agricultural aerial apparatus.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Ron Klein. I am General Manager of Central Valley Helicopters in Ellensburg. I've been involved in aerial applications with both fixed wing and helicopters for 47 years. We specialize in utility helicopter operations, mainly habitat restoration work such as aerial seeding, noxious weed control, wildlife surveys, wild horse roundups, and glad to be a part of the board.
Great, thank you. Jeffrey Leonardini.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. So I'm Jeff Leonardini. I'm a crop advisor for Washington Fruit and Produce Company out of Yakima, Washington. I was in charge of writing all the agronomy and pest control recommendations for the company for 30 years there. Since I'm probably in my last year before retirement, I'm sharing those duties now with other fellow employees. I do have my WSDA PAL and CCL licenses, and have been nominated to the Hort Council. I'm on a science advisory committee there as well.
Great, thank you. Patrick Williams, representative from the agricultural chemical industry.
Hey everyone, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Good. Great. So I'm an agronomist for the J.R. Simplot Company. I have worked in this role for the last 16 years. I cover a big territory. I live in Pasco and I cover up to Spokane, all the way over to Ellensburg and everywhere south of that, and through the gorge over to the Willamette Valley and down to the California border. So I cover a lot of different crops and happy to be a part of this process. I'm also a co-chair of Crop Life America's Sustainability Committee, so we're working on a lot of similar issues there. Happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Kelly McDonald, representing an agricultural producer.
Hi, nice to meet everybody. I am a third generation apple, pear, and cherry farmer. Currently farm in Tonasket, Washington. But I'm also director of grower relations and regional orchards for Chelan Fruit in Chelan, Washington.
Great, thank you. Robin Shane Nessa, WCA's Pesticide Management Division Assistant Director, or the Assistant Director's designee, and I can tell you that she is the Assistant Director. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. So I'm Robin Shane Nessa, and I am currently the Pesticide Management Division Assistant Director. I started working for the Department of Agriculture back in 1988 as a field investigator for pesticides out of Yakima. I covered Yakima, Benton, Franklin, and Walla Walla counties, as well as Klickitat and Kittitas. If you didn't meet me back then, lucky, when I was working compliance. But I have taken different roles over the years and worked in registration, licensing, recertification, and most recently as the pesticide assistant director since 2017 is when I took over. I have presented before and was I was a registration manager at the time we still had the board, the previous board. So I'm very excited to see this restarted, and I really look forward to lots of conversations with all of you to get your input and be active with our stakeholders. So welcome and thank you for being here and being part of this board. It's really important to the department and to me and our division.
Right, thank you. All right, Griselda Arias, toxicologist or pesticide investigations manager from the Department of Health.
I don't see Griselda on the attendees list.
Okay, well, we'll.
Hey,
Oh,
if I could jump in, this is Greg Karen. I'm with the Washington Department of Ecology, and Griselda is here with me at the Washington Commission on Pesticide Registration, who also happen to be having their meeting today.
okay. Will, so she's there with you, or is she in the room with you, or she's at your conference?
She's at the conference, yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay,
wanted to
great.
point out that we have a double booking issue.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, tell her hey and hi for us. Let's skip ahead then to Craig Blackwood. He is with the Department of Labor and Industries Division of Occupational Safety and Health, Assistant Director or the Assistant Director's designee.
Hey, thank you. And I can tell you, I am the Assistant Director for DOSH. I've been here for 33 years. Background started out as industrial hygienist and then kind of moved up through the ranks to oversee a division of 400 people. Our jurisdiction is employee safety and health. So we do a lot in the agricultural industry, including pesticide exposure or potential exposure to employees. But that's really our area of expertise. When there's an employer and an employee relationship, then our rules apply. And for agriculture, it's typically the worker protection standard we're looking at enforcing for various personal protective equipment and other things.
Okay, great. April Clayton is the representative for the environmental community, and she contacted me earlier today and told me that she would not be able to attend. So we will skip to Joe Herrera. He's a representative from a federally recognized Indian tribe or an interested tribe that does not regulate pesticides. Savannah, can you tell if Joe is on the call?
I'm looking and
He's on. It looks like he's muted.
okay.
Oh, yep, I see him now. Are you able to unmute yourself, Joe? Well, what we'll do is we'll come back to you, Joe, and we'll catch you at the end. All right. Our next voting member is Israel de la Mora. He is a farm worker advocate.
Good afternoon. My name is Israel de la Mora, and yes, I manage a regional farm worker program. It's actually not regional, but it's actually a federal program. It's called the National Farm Workers Jobs Program through OIC of Washington. And I've been involved in agriculture and providing training to agricultural workers and upgrading their skills for like 18 years. So I'm really interested in worker safety and also farming rights and stuff like that. So thank you for selecting me, and I look forward to working with all of you guys. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Our next member is Junior Isla Sanchez, and he is representing migrant farm workers.
I don't see his name in the chat, but maybe they're calling in.
He put a note in the chat. Is that the same person?
That's from Joe Herrera. It won't let him unmute.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Joe. This is Robin speaking. Sorry. Joe Herrera is with the Yakima tribe. Hi, Joe. We work with him on lots of issues with Region 10 out of EPA and have known Joe for quite a few years. Kelly, tell him how you normally can unmute. Maybe he can do that. But I do not see Junior Islas on the phone or in the meeting at this point.
Okay, so Joe, you can either, it really depends on what your microphone setup is. You may need to click the little mute button at the top of your right-hand corner of your screen on the Teams platform. If you've got a headset, I have a mute button on my headset that sometimes I accidentally press and mute myself. Otherwise, you may want to leave the meeting and then come back in and see if that'll fix it.
He's on the phone, Kelly. I think you said there was something to use for the phone.
Yes, *5.
I think it might be *6 for the mute, unmute, and *5 for raise hand.
Oh, you're right. Let's try *6.
Yeah, try *6, Joe.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yay, great. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you. My name's Joe Herrera. Everybody knows me as Cricket, so you guys can call me Cricket. I'm an enrolled member of the Confederated Tribes and Bands of the Yakima Nation. I've been a pesticide inspector or FIFRA inspector for 8 years. I've been in my position for 9, and I look forward to working with everybody and seeing new faces and regular faces, I guess. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Matthew Harris is our at-large member as determined by our director.
Hi, my name's Matt Harris. I'm with the Washington State Potato Commission, Director of Governmental Affairs. Been actively involved with tracking different policy pieces, whether it's working with farms in Washington State, potato producers and their application processes, working with the Department of Agriculture, and then also working and understanding EPA rules and regulations.
Great, thank you. And then Steve Bennett is the representative for the Household and Commercial Products Association. He also contacted me and said that he would be unable to attend today.
Kelly, may I say a quick word about ACPA? I'm here on behalf of them. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks so much. Just real quickly, yeah, Dr. Stephen Bennett's out due to surgery, so I know he'd much rather be here. But the Household and Commercial Products Association, represents the consumer and institutional side of pesticide products. So that's going to be things like antimicrobials, pet products, lawn care, consumer insecticides. And I just want to thank Representative Dent and the department for all the work it's taken to put this together. So thanks so much and glad to be here.
All right, great. Thank you, Christopher. All right, we'll move to the non-voting members now. And Bradley Farrar is the director or the director's designee for the Department of Labor and Industries. And I know he's the designee, so Bradley, go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. It's great to be here with all of you. My name is Bradley Farrar. As Kelly mentioned, I am not the director of Labor and Industries, but I am the designee. I work in the Division of Occupational Safety and Health along with Craig Blackwood. I'm one of his 400 minions, but excited to be here today. And I previously worked for WSDA and their Pesticide Management Division. So it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm sitting right across a small little table from Wendy Sue Wheeler. We're at a WSU pesticide recertification event in Linwood today, but just excited to be a part of this advisory board. And in Labor and Industries, our mission is to keep Washington safe and working. So we take that seriously, and just really happy to be a part of this board to continue that conversation on how to keep workers safe. Thank you.
Great, thank you. David Heimer, the director or the director's designee from the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Heimer. I'm the noxious weed coordinator for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I've been with the agency for well over 20 years. I used to sit on the other Pesticide Advisory Board, so I'm glad to see this one is back and running. So looking forward to working with everybody.
Great, thank you. Greg Caron, the director or the director's designee from the Department of Ecology.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I am not the director or the assistant director. I'm a regional manager working out of the Central Regional Office for the Department of Ecology. Been with the agency a little over 20 years, and I deal primarily with contaminated site cleanup, hazardous waste management and disposal, and as well as a little emergency response.
Great, thank you. Matthew Murphy, the director or the director's designee of the Liquor and Cannabis Board.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my camera was off there. Yeah, I'm not the director. I'm the director's designee as well. I'm a captain of our cannabis team, Eastern Washington Enforcement, and also our statewide education team. I've been with the agency since 2006 and just got into the cannabis world just last year. Happy to be part of the group.
Great, thank you. Our position for the Commissioner of Public Lands or Commissioner's designee is still vacant. So we'll move on to Bertha Clayton, the Commissioner of the Employment Security Department or the Commissioner's designee.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bertha Clayton. I represent ESD on this committee, and my role is I'm the director of ESD's Agricultural and Seasonal Workforce Services Office, also referred to as ASWS. Our office administers the Foreign Labor Program in Washington. You may know it as the H-2A, H-2B program. I've been in this role since January of 2022, and I'm located in Walla Walla.
Great, thank you. Eleanor Fanning, the Environmental Health Specialist from the Department of Health.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm a toxicologist at the Department of Health currently. My training includes a doctoral degree from the School of Public Health at UC Berkeley with a focus in toxicology. My current work at DOH is more focused on consumer product safety. I do support our food safety folks when they need toxicology help, and our pesticide illness program as well. I have some past experience staffing a California science review panel that worked with the Department of Pesticide Regulation there in California. And I have a long-standing interest in chemical exposure. So I'm really excited to be here with this board and with all the expertise present in the room today. I'm a non-voting member, and I'm here really just to support this work when issues come up that might benefit from a toxicology perspective. And I really look forward to just decision making and really a data-driven approach with all of you. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Lewis Nottingham, entomologist in public service.
Hi, everyone. My name's Louis Nottingham. I go by Louis. Lewis is fine too. I'm a professor of entomology at Washington State University. I'm located at the Northwestern Washington Research and Extension Center in Mount Vernon. And I've been in Washington for about 6 years now. I was in Wenatchee before this at the Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center. I do a lot of integrated pest management research, which involves pesticide trials and non-target effects trials and things like that. And I work a lot directly with growers and applicators who work with pesticides, their issues. So I have a lot of direct interaction with the agricultural industry and do a lot of making recommendations and things like that. So happy to be a part of the group, and thank you for having me.
Great, thank you. Next is Alan Felsot, toxicologist in public service. And he may not be on. He said he had a conflict that he might be able to join the meeting later. So hopefully we'll catch him later and we'll get an introduction at that point. Next is Casey Buell, member of the National Pesticide Information Center. And I also understand that Casey had a conflict, but I believe that Meredith Cox was going to, there you are, yeah, introduce herself.
Great, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, Casey is unable to be here, but my name is Meredith Cox and I'm the project coordinator with NPIC, which is the National Pesticide Information Center. And so Casey will be the regular attending member, but we are an EPA funded hotline and webpage and all around information center that is based at Oregon State University and provides free pesticide information to the public. So if you don't know us, Google us, check us out. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Great. Thank you. All right. Wendy Sue Wheeler, pesticide coordinator from Washington State University.
Hey there. My name is Wendy Sue Wheeler. I'm the director of the Washington State University Pesticide Resources and Education Program. I have hands-on experience. I've been at the core of pesticide safety education programs for the last 15 years. Prior to that, I worked for the Washington State Department of Agriculture as a pesticide registration specialist. I did a deep dive into registrations and regulations and really at the core of who I am. I believe in strong national interactions on pesticide issues, including the stewardship of pesticides. And I really look forward to serving on this board. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Wendy Sue. Next up, we have Edward Kasner from the Agricultural Health Network, advisor from the Pacific Northwest Agricultural Safety and Health Center, better known as PNASH or PNASH.
I don't see his name in the list of attendees.
Okay, great. We'll move on. Next up is Catherine Buckley. She is our WSDA Pollinator Health Coordinator.
Hi, I'm normally known as Katie. I run the WSDA Pollinator Program as well as chair the Pollinator Health Task Force and help run with my taxonomist the new Washington Bee Atlas. So I cover all the pollinator topics in Washington besides doing research and endangered species because Fish and Wildlife does endangered species.
Great, thank you. And while we're on the topic of pollinators, we have Bud Lynn Wilhelm. He's a commercial beekeeper.
Didn't see his name either in the list.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on. Next we have Marie Hallinan. She is the representative for the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Region 10.
Hi, I'm Marie. I'm a program and enforcement specialist with EPA Region 10 in the FIFRA group. I'm based out of the Seattle office, and I've been with the agency for about 2 years now. I'm a project officer for the FIFRA Cooperative Agreement. With technology, and I've done some work with invasive species risk management type projects in the past. So thanks for the invite to the board.
Thank you. Next is Ray Willard. He is a representative from the Department of Transportation with expertise in vegetation management.
Hi, everybody. Ray Willard. I'm a landscape architect with Washington State DOT, work in the maintenance division. Been doing the same job for over 30 years now, directing roadside maintenance operations for the agency. And done a lot of work with pesticides. I was on, I think I was on the advisory committee in the olden days when we were originally formed. So we've done a lot of work with WashDOT on risk management with pesticides. We're kind of on the front line on a lot of this when it comes to pesticide use because we're right there where everybody sees us. So got a lot of experience on this, and I'm also on the Invasive Species Council. So yeah, that's me.
Great, thank you so much. We have Mary Fee. She's a representative from the Noxious Weed Control Board.
I don't see her name either.
Okay. And then we'll end with Ryan Pessa, and he is a representative of an organization made up of agricultural producers, timber producers, wood preservers, and others whose mission includes supporting behind the responsible use of pesticides in both agriculture and forestry. And Ryan, you win the prize for the longest representative name.
Well, I guess I don't need an introduction then.
That's right.
My name is Ryan Pesa. I work for Western Wood Preservers Institute, and we're a nonprofit trade association that represents wood preservers in Washington, Oregon, California, and a few other Western states. Appreciate being on this board and looking forward to the dialogue.
Great, thank you so much. Right, we're going to skip to, or we're going to go up and to introduce some of our.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Sorry, this is Griselda. I am on. I'm just on my phone and could not unmute myself.
Oh, okay. Would you like to give us a quick introduction?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Griselda Arias, and I oversee the DOH Acute Pesticide Illness Surveillance and Prevention Program, as well as staff the Pesticide Application Safety Committee. And our team handles any acute health effects that are reported from possible pesticide exposures. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for being able to join us. All right, so let's introduce some of the key folks within Pesticide Management Division that the board will be interacting with or learning from. You've already met me. I'm the policy assistant and Pesticide Advisory Board coordinator. However, beginning February 1st, we will have a new policy assistant and new Pesticide Advisory Board coordinator, and that is Delina Blair. And Delina, go ahead and introduce yourself to the board members.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kelly. So I'm Delina Blair. I've been with WSDA since January of 2017, so almost on 7 years. And I was in a compliance role working in Western Washington as a field investigator. And then the last 3 years, I've been area manager for Western Washington. So I've been based out of Olympia this whole time, working in compliance. And so looking forward to this new role and working with all of you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. The reason is I get to retire at the end of January. So Delina is going to be a wonderful new addition to the staff for the policy staff, and I'm really looking forward to her joining. I mean, she's worked with us, but have her in this new role, she's going to be great, and looking forward to it.
Thank
Savannah,
you, Kelly.
oh, you're welcome. Savannah Richard. Oh, there you are. Great.
Hi. Yeah, I'm communications and outreach at PMD, and I've been here for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. And yeah, so I'll be helping to set these meetings up. If you have questions about anything logistically about the meetings or anything, you can reach out to me. Yeah, I'm just a resource.
Well, not just a resource. I will tell you that if you guys have noticed that our Pesticide Management Division web pages look amazing, it's all because of Savannah. She has totally reworked all of our web pages, made them more intuitive, made them so much nicer. She is the brainchild and the person that reworked all of our pages for us. So fantastic. I see Patrick Williams has his hand up. Patrick, if it would be all right.
Sorry, that was a misclick. I
Oh.
didn't actually mean to do that.
Okay. Kevin Wynn, he is our administrative assistant. He's going to be our meeting minutes taker for this meeting and probably future ones, I hope. And you may not know this, that you might be also the reimbursement coordinator for our in-person attendance reimbursing for per diems. So just sprung that on you just now. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Kevin, and so everybody can meet you.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Kevin Quinn. I've been with WSDA since April of this year. I'm the admin assistant for compliance and the dairy nutrient management program. And I'm looking forward to this meeting and supporting everyone overall. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Robin Shane Nessa, you've already met Robin earlier. She is a board member. Robin, I didn't know if there's anything more that you wanted to say.
Just waving and saying hi. Looking forward to our in-person meeting, hopefully in the spring. We'll talk about later, but welcome everyone.
Scott Nielsen is our pesticide compliance program manager. And unfortunately for us and fortunately for him, he is in Maui. So we have Tim Stein from our Spokane office representing Scott today.
Yeah, I'm not Scott Nielsen. I'm Tim Stein. I'm the area supervisor for the pesticide compliance branch of PMD. I'm based out of the Spokane office, supervise the 12 eastern and north central counties, the Wenatchee office and Spokane office. I've been with pesticide compliance programs for 22 years. The last 7 of that is with Washington State Department of Ag. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Christina Zimmerman is our licensing and recertification program manager.
Hi, everyone. Tina Zimmerman here, Program Manager for Licensing and Recertification, like Kelly mentioned. I've been with WSDA for about 6.5 years now. Prior to that, I was with the Hawaii Department of Agriculture. I supervised the Registration and Technical Review Unit for about 12.5 years. And we oversaw special local needs, Section 3 registrations, SLNs, emergency exemptions, all of that good stuff, as well as the EPA cooperative agreement.
Great, thank you, Tina. Next up is Brent Perry. He is the Registration Services Program Manager. The registration program registers pesticides and fertilizers and also does fertilizer compliance.
Hello, everyone. Like everybody says, Brent Perry, Washington State Department of Agriculture Registration Services Program Manager. Been with the state about 24 years. Been within this position that I'm in for about 2. Previously worked in the fertilizer compliance end of it. Previous to that, had a real job in production agriculture. So that's about it.
Great. Thanks, Brent. And then rounding out the program managers is Ofelio Borges. He's our Technical Services and Education Program Manager.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ofelio Borges. I have been with the Department of Agriculture for about 23 years. I manage the Technical Services and Education Program within the Pesticide Management Division. And I have spent about 33 years of my life in the agricultural industry, especially the tree fruit industry. I appreciate the opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Ofelio. All right, well, now we're going to get to some of the actual, and thank you guys all for introducing yourself. The main order of business that we're going to have today, though, is electing a board chair. So I kind of wanted to go over what the chair duties are so that you can kind of get an idea of what this position is responsible for. So the chair will call for meetings through the Pesticide Advisory Board coordinator and communications lead. They will manage meeting decorum, settle board votes in the event of a tie, manage meeting coordination with WSDA, develop agendas with input from the board membership and other stakeholders, ensure regular communication with board members and WSDA leadership or the director's office, manage other board needs, such as the formation and coordination of subcommittees or work groups, white papers, or similar items. Coordinate the minutes, follow the Open Meetings Act requirements of board meetings, and other particulars, working with the coordinator and other PMD staff. Coordinate funding and reimbursement issues with the department, and then other duties that maybe the board will determine that they would like to have the chair do. The chair length of term was not specified in the legislative bill. This is something that the board can determine maybe at their next meeting. They can decide on, once they elect a board chair, how long maybe that term is going to be. You guys may decide it to be an annual or a 2-year term, 4-year term, and if the chair can hold successive terms. So that might be one of the orders of business to determine in the future. So at this point, are there any questions from any of the board members? Oh, I see a hand up.
It's me.
Hi.
So, or the chair, can it be a voting member or a non-voting member? Is it limited to just voting or not?
It can be either, it can be a voting or non-voting.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Were there any more questions? All right. So election of a board chair, we're gonna get to the particulars of this. So again, as Craig asked, the chair can be a voting or a non-voting member of the Pesticide Advisory Board. Nominations can include any board members. Members can self-nominate themselves, but only voting members can vote. So before we get started with the nominations, I'm gonna let you know how this process is gonna work. You guys are going to be voting via a poll with voting buttons that'll come through to you in your chat box. The poll may appear to you on your desktop if you have the Teams app. Otherwise, it'll appear in your chat. Now, this poll is going to go out to everybody, but again, only the voting members of the board can vote. So if you're a non-voting member, if you're a member of the public that's attending, don't vote. Just the voting members are to vote. Once a person has been nominated and has accepted the nomination, Savannah is going to enter their name in the poll that she's working on her end. And then once I have closed the nominations and after a question and discussion period, Savannah will then send out the poll in the chat box. Please vote for your choice and click the submit button. And then if you need to remove it, the polling box from your desktop, you can click done and it'll remove it from the screen. And I'll get to the questions in just a moment. The results of the vote will be displayed in the chat box as the votes come in. So you'll see the little bars move as the votes are coming in, as who's getting the votes. Your vote will be anonymous to the meeting attendees, but we will have record of the vote behind the scenes. The meeting recording, this recording that we're creating now, will not have the record of the number of votes for each candidate, but the results again will show in the chat box. The results that Savannah will be able to import the results into an Excel spreadsheet. Those will be saved and inserted into the written minutes of the meeting. So just to let you know that there will be a record in the minutes of the meeting of who got how many votes. If you're a voting member, dial *6 and you can verbally give your vote. If there is a tie, we will revote with the tied candidates. And again, remember, only voting members can vote. So I see a hand up in the chat. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
So I assume we shouldn't nominate folks that aren't present.
Well, they may not be able to accept the nomination at that point, but
yeah.
I mean,
all right.
You can certainly nominate anyone that you want, that they just won't be able to accept the nomination, and then they might not appreciate what you've done to them. All right, any more questions? Okay, I will now open nominations. Are there any nominations for chair of the Pesticide Advisory Board? Go ahead and unmute yourself and give us your nomination.
Can we nominate someone from WSDA?
It has to be somebody who is one of the board members, either a voting or non-voting member. Yes, you can nominate someone for WSDA as long as they are a voting or non-voting member. I see a hand up for Greg.
Sure. I'm sorry. Let me get my camera back on here. I'd like to throw out Wendy Sue Wheeler's name as a nomination, and I'd also like to nominate Eleanor Fanning.
Okay. So we have a nomination for Wendy Sue Wheeler. Wendy Sue, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
We also have a nomination for Eleanor Fanning. Eleanor, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other nominations for chair of the Pesticide Advisory Board?
This is Wendy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Robin Shane Nessa.
Great, thank you. We have a nomination, excuse me, Robin, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
All right, great, thank you. Do we have any other nominations for chair of the Pesticide Advisory Board? All right, I'll ask one more time just to make sure we give everybody the opportunity to to get their nominations in. Do we have any other nominations for chair of the Pesticide Advisory Board? All right, I'm going to close nominations and we'll have a question and discussion period. We have 3 people that have been nominated for the chair. We have Wendy Sue Wheeler, Eleanor Fanning, and Robin Shane Nessa. Do we have any questions or discussion on our nominees? Okay, I'll take that as a no, so that's good. Savannah, have you entered the nominees' names into the poll already?
Yes, it's ready whenever you are.
Okay, so go ahead and post it to the chat. And remember that only voting members can vote for the chair. If you are not a voting member, do not vote. To remove the little polling box, if you're not a member, go ahead and just click the close button up in the upper right hand corner of the polling box. Hey Matt, I see you have a question.
Yeah, I tried to vote and it's saying something went wrong. Please try again. So.
Okay, would you like to give your vote verbally?
Yeah, that's fine. I would vote for Wendy Sue Wheeler.
Okay. We'll add that on the back end. Patrick Williams is also getting the something went wrong, and he'd also like to vote for Wendy Sue. Ron Klein also for Wendy Sue Wheeler. Savannah, I've just seen that on my end, at least, that Israel De La Mora has also voted for Wendy Sue Wheeler. I'll let you continue to tally them up. It doesn't look like, at least on my end, because I closed out of the voting before it finished, that I'm getting the responses. So I will let you tally up the votes and let us know. Is there anybody that has not voted that is a voting member that hasn't voted yet?
There's a hand up, Kelly.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, this is Kelly McDonald. I'd like to vote for Wendy Sue. It's giving me the error message.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you. We tested this process earlier in the week, and of course it went perfectly. So darn it. Right. Are there any other folks out there that haven't voted that want to vote, that are voting members? I see a hand up. But I can't tell who you are that's got the hand up.
I think that's Kelly.
Oh, it might be a legacy hand. Oh, I see another hand up. It's MG or GM. I'm not on my end. I can't see the name.
It's just meeting guest.
Oh, meeting guest. Oh, I see. Yeah, is that the same? Is that still Kelly's hand?
I think so, Kelly.
Okay.
Kelly
well,
Davis.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move on. And Savannah, on your end, would you like to announce the results of the vote?
All right, it is unanimous. It's Wendy Sue Wheeler.
Oh, good. Congratulations, Wendy Sue. So fantastic. So by vote of the voting members of the Pesticide
Yay!
Advisory Board,
I
Wendy
don't have
Sue
to
Wheeler.
deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Great
everybody.
idea.
Thank you very much. I look forward to serving as your board chair.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll move on to some more board business. Just want to touch a little bit on about what's this board going to do? What's the basic operations of the board? So we talked a little bit about what the purpose of the Pesticide Advisory Board was a little bit earlier in our meeting. But some of the topics that could be addressed by the Pesticide Advisory Board are maybe crop and pest control challenges, including new invasive pests, maybe proposed rulemaking that the agency, the WSDA, wants to conduct, pesticide-related legislation, maybe new fees or programs or projects that we would like to work on, coordination with other state and federal agencies, maybe emerging issues related to pesticides, water quality, other environmental issues related to pesticides, and then one of the big topics that we are dealing with right now are Endangered Species Act initiatives. So those will be some more of the topics that the Pesticide Advisory Board will be learning about and getting to deal with. Talking about term limits and vacancies. So as you, I believe it stated in your appointment letter from Director Sanderson, term limits were initially staggered into 1, 2, 3, and 4-year terms, so that approximately 1/4 of the terms would expire each year. Then after the initial term, the terms will be a 4-year term that'll end on June 30th of that year that term ends. So 1/4 of the terms will end on a June 30th every year. If there are any vacancies, the director will attempt to get those vacancies filled within 30 days. As far as communications, the Pesticide Advisory Board coordinator will work by email, email directly board members. You may also receive information through our Gov Delivery or our website. So just to let you know, you may have already received a notice from our listserv that our listserv will be going away in about 4 days, and we'll start using Gov Delivery for agency communications. So look forward to a welcome to Gov Delivery email coming to you soon. We also have our Pesticide Advisory Board webpage on the department website within the Pesticide Management Division pages. It's at the address listed, or you can go to the WSDA website and type in the search bar Pesticide Advisory Board, and it will be the first selection that comes up. Some more operations of the board. We talked a little bit about the formation of subcommittees or work groups for specific topics. This is mostly intended for if the board needs to get more information about a specific topic and they want to bring in some subject matter experts to help them with that particular topic. These individuals do not need to be board members to be in the work group. So the board has the ability to create work groups to help them work on specific topics that maybe they feel like they don't have the expertise for. For reimbursements, I know that this was a question. So from in-person meeting attendance, the agency will pay your per diem, which is mileage, meals, and lodging. This board is also eligible for a stipend up to $200 per day under that RCW that I've got listed there. We will also pay reasonable allowances for child and adult care. And the process for the reimbursement is still being finalized. We're trying to find a way to get it streamlined. Currently, you have to become a vendor with the state of Washington in order to be reimbursed. And we think that's there's got to be a way to streamline it. So our agency is working on streamlining that right now. So hopefully we'll have answers to that fairly soon. So any questions on the basic operations of the board? All right. So let's talk about the next meeting. And this is the part where I get to turn the meeting over to the Pesticide Advisory Board Chair. So Wendy Sue, do you want to take on this portion of the meeting? We just want to talk about where do we want to meet, when do we want to meet, just kind of toss some ideas back and forth of what's the next step for the board.
Okay. So in regards to the next meeting, I think first we need to decide whether it's going to be in person, virtual, hybrid, or virtual only. I don't know if people want to speak up or we can put in the chat.
Hybrid would be great.
Oh, yeah. Did she, sorry about that. Did she say hybrid?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think hybrid would be a good choice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say also.
Okay, 2 hybrids. So definitely in person with the ability to be hybrid. And that helps us with any weather or whatnot. Okay, so it looks like we're pretty unanimous on hybrid / in person.
Ryan has a hand raised.
Ryan,
I just wanted a second hybrid, so thank you.
Thank you for that input. I appreciate it. Great. So now that we have that settled, we will definitely do a hybrid. What location? Eastern versus Western? I think we should start in one area and then the next one we'll have on the other side of the mountains. So I'd open the floor to any discussion about Eastern versus Western. Tri-Cities is a great suggestion.
I like that as well.
Excellent, Robin. Thank you. Thank you for your input. Anybody else with Tri-Cities? So Eastern Washington?
Yeah, Tri-Cities works well for me.
Great.
Wendy Sue, I'm just going to speak and be on camera. We've got an hour left. Not that we need to take the whole hour, but when we considered this first meeting, we wanted to do an in-person meeting, and we were thinking we were going to do Yakima because we have an office. But then when we thought about the logistics, one, we couldn't even get our conference room scheduled because it's so booked. And this board is so much bigger than the previous board. There's 31 members. Even though there's quite a few that are non-voting, we realized that wasn't going to be a great location. And there aren't a lot of good meeting locations in the Yakima area, which is why I'm suggesting the Tri-Cities. Spokane would be fine, but people got to go a long way. Olympia is easy for those of us in state government that work over in headquarters, but it sounds like from the group, the membership, we've got people all over the state, quite a few central. So, and the other thing I'll just throw out for time of year, we were thinking, maybe early spring and in early April or something, but we've got a lot of ag folks. So that's my piece on this. I didn't want to be in the middle of summer where everyone's crazy with ag stuff, and I'd like to get us started in the spring, but if it's too soon and we need to wait till next fall, I'll let the board decide, but that's my 2 cents.
Thank you very much, Robin. I'll open the floor to Alan Felsot as he's located there at Tri-Cities. And Alan, if you want to do a quick introduction of who you are for the board, I'd greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I couldn't. I had to attend a preliminary PhD exam, and good news, he passed with flying colors. Very good exam. So my name's Alan. Yeah. So my name's Alan Felsot. I've been at WSU faculty as professor since 1993, so I'm over 30 years here. And prior to that, I had almost 15 years on the faculty at the University of Illinois, and I spent about 45 years as a faculty member studying pesticide technology. And I've been on a previous version of the Pesticide Advisory Board. I was on the Pesticide Incident Reporting Tracking Panel, PERT panel, for a while. So I've been involved with pesticide technology, and I'm still trying to figure out, although I'm in my 70s, I'm still trying to figure out why I'm interested in pesticides. I have no idea. I started that interest in graduate school. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Great.
That's it.
So Alan, there in WSU Tri-Cities, do we have a facility there that would hold 30 plus people? I mean, I could definitely just coordinate with you on the outside.
Yeah. We have facilities on the campus itself, and being a member of this campus, I could probably get us something without much trouble that could hold that. It could be classroom style where you organize. They also have brother rooms possible. So I think we can accommodate, with enough lead time. I don't think it'll be any problem at all.
Great. Thank you, Alan. All right, so it looks like we have a couple of options in the Tri-Cities area. Thank you, Matt, for your information about Ag West. I will add that to my list here. I think we'll settle on Tri-Cities for this. Oh, and Union Gap, thank you for ecology. Thank you, Greg. We'll settle in Central Washington, let's put it that way. All right, so time of year. So what does spring look like? Robin had thrown out April. Is that too late? Should we look at March, into March, April? I'd like to open the floor to that discussion.
May I make a suggestion why March may be better than April? Because of the business of the board, you might want to hit on topics that have been at issue from the previous growing season, and maybe start discussing them before you go into the new growing season, and then not wait till you're in the middle of the growing season like, oh my gosh, we should have discussed this before. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Thank you, Alan. Is March, mid-March, late March?
I just want to say I agree with the March idea. I was just trying to make sure we're done with the legislative session, which goes till, like the 10th or 12th or something of March. So anytime after the leg session's out, it's 60 days. It starts on January 8th. So you got to count all the days. But it's 10th or 12th. So mid to late March would be awesome.
Thank you, Robin. I would second that. Yeah, looking at the leg session, so we definitely want it to be late March. I think would be the safest, but yeah.
We have the 18th through the 22nd, or the 25th through the 29th.
From a farmer's perspective, it would work better for being mid-March for us.
Okay. Through 22nd. Maybe do it closer to the beginning of the 18th.
And Wendy, for us at DOS, we have some commitments that third week already with advisory committees and other events. It might be tough to get there in person, but if we have the hybrid option, always join that way. Although I prefer to be in person whenever I can.
Okay. I definitely am an in-person person as well. Looks like we have quite a few for that 25th through the 29th. Not being ideal for everybody, but the APCO meeting is the 1st of March, Joe. Do we want to pick a day? What days are better for people? We have a March 29th. We have out after the 26th. After March 24th. What day of the week is better for anybody? I have a hand, we see a hand up, sorry.
Sorry, Wendy Sue, it's Robin. And
oh, thank you.
I was wondering, there's quite a few folks in agriculture in this committee, and they are looking more at that 15th through the 26th timeframe. And I'm wondering, can we poll the 2 different weeks of March for the board members to pick between those 2 weeks and then maybe whittle it down to days after we pick a week? Because I want to make sure we've, tried really hard to have a balanced board, and I'd like everyone to have a voice in the timing. Thanks.
If we poll, Rob, oh, okay, I guess can someone help me with a poll?
Yeah, I can send out a doodle poll like we did to set up this meeting to everyone.
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking we could poll here in the meeting, Savannah.
Oh, you want to poll right now?
Can we poll between, well, we don't know if it'll work, but can we poll between the week of the 15th to 26th of March versus, just to see where everybody's at? I want to get some basic numbers versus the last week of March.
Okay, let's give it a try. I'll set it up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As she's setting up that poll, maybe we can discuss 2 hours or 4 hours. Any thoughts of how long the meeting should be? Today, the meeting was 2 hours. But some more meaty topics, we may need a little more time.
I can tell you with this big a board, for the first meeting in person, based on what we did in the past, we talk about so much stuff. I can't imagine doing it in 2 hours. Like I would say, suggest 4, and if we get done early, woohoo. I don't know if that's going to be possible. We can try to do like midday, like I think we used to do 10 to 2 or something like that, and bring lunch and everybody get lunch so everyone can kind of drive to where it is, get back home within the same day. So that's how we used to do it, as a suggestion.
Robin, I really value your input. Thank you very much. And I agree. I like that 10 to 2. A lot of meetings that I travel to, that's a nice option.
Okay, I just wanted to check for the poll that it's the week of March 18th to the 22nd or March 25th to the 29th. Those are the 2 options.
That is correct. Thank you, Savannah.
Yep.
Okay, I'll launch this then. Okay, hopefully everyone can see it and vote.
Does anybody know when the county weed coordinators meeting is going to be this year in Chelan? It's usually right around in that middle part of March.
We could, if the polling isn't working, how about just putting your vote in the chat, if everyone's comfortable with that?
Looks like the polling is working for some people.
Yeah, so what happened is I had mine pop up on the screen, and then I voted that way, and then it worked. And it also gives me the side option, but obviously the first pop-up worked. I don't know if you guys are getting that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it looks like 80. Oh, it's evening out. But the majority is March 25th to the 29th.
Great,
thank you, Savannah.
It's nice to see the numbers. Thank you.
Great. So with the 25th through the 29th, which day works best? We had it Tuesday, Wednesday, but that may. Any strong desires for a particular day of the week?
Is it possible to do a poll?
Yep, yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
I mean, I have particular days that are not good for me because I do so much teaching, but it's not about me. It's about consensus. So let's do a poll, see what happens.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you,
set
Alan.
it up just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Does that sound good?
That's great, Savannah. Thank you.
All right, I launched it, so it should be available.
Actually, is it possible to create a poll where you can have multiple select, or you want us to just pick our most ideal day?
No, let me edit it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Edit it. Okay, I just relaunched it.
And this will be a multiple choice.
Yeah, you should be able to select multiples.
Okay, great.
In academia, it's officially called multiple select questions. Multiple choice is only one answer.
Oh, okay.
Is it just the voting members that are able to do the poll?
I would assume in this instance, because this affects all board members, unless someone tells me different, I think that all board members can vote on the for the next meeting.
I can't see a poll.
Do you have the chat open?
I had to scroll in my chat to find it.
I do not have the chat open. All right, thank you.
I agree, Kelly. I don't know for sure on the voting part, but I would prefer everyone can vote as part of the board, whether they're voting or non-voting. Yeah. For the purposes of deciding meetings and topics and all of that, we want all of the board to come and we want all of the board to talk and have participation. So I'm not the chair though, so you know, that's just my opinion.
I know the chair. I appreciate that input, Robin. I value your knowledge and expertise and experience.
Okay, well, it looks like Wednesday has the most votes, and then Thursday is a close second.
Okay, we'll look at Wednesday, the 27th, and see if we can find a facility, and if not, we'll have the Thursday as a backup.
Can I make another suggestion? If you follow the political news, it's called ranked choice voting. You might redo the poll with just those 2 dates and see if you have an overwhelming favorite or if it comes out equal again, because you had such a really it's a normal distribution if you look at the numbers. So ranked choice voting gives you more, it contributes more to democracy.
Alan, I think you're trying to affect the vote. But I'm not opposed to doing that. It's just having a hard time.
I thought I was trying to promote democracy.
All right. Do you want me to do that?
If it's easy and quick, we can do that.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Savannah.
just Wednesday and Thursday on this new poll.
Please.
Okay. And is it
only select Wednesday, only select Thursday, I guess.
Okay.
Is that okay, Alan? I didn't see a face twitch.
All right. It should be available in the chat. I might have to scroll down.
And science wins again.
I accept the results of the election. There won't be any lawsuits on my part.
Hopefully we can get your facility if we're using it on a Wednesday.
Yep. Wednesday
actually,
it is.
Yeah, I might be okay. Yeah.
All right, Wednesday it is. The next item that we had on the next meeting agenda is topics for next meeting. So some of our talking points are presentation on specific topics or overview of the pesticide programs within Pesticide Management Division. I think that is critical for us to understand that well and what they do. Any other items? The floor is open for any discussion.
I'll kick us off a little bit with some things going on right now with the agency, with our division.
Thank you, Robin.
So yeah, so in licensing, we are working on finalizing, updating our licensing and recertification rules to align with the federal certification and training rules. Although we went to the legislature a year ago and got a little bit changed in definitions, there's a whole bunch more we have to do to align with those federal rules that were established in 2017. And we're required to abide by that and get that done. So we have started those rulemakings and probably at least giving an update on where we are with that. You know, obviously not doing a presentation or anything major because we'll be doing webinars and things outside of this, but just an update to the board, what's going on with it. The other thing is there will be a bill that will have some impact, that could have some impact, proposed bill to impact neonics in the state of Washington and how they're used and who can use them. We've seen the draft. It is not an agency sponsored bill. It's from outside the agency. It's from a senator. And so I'm sure there's going to be lots of talk about that during the legislative session. And I'm sure we're going to want an update on how that came out when we have this meeting. We're going to try and do whatever we can to not have it impact agriculture or to impact ag as little as possible. But just a heads up, yeah, that's going to be something I'm sure we're going to want to talk about. And then the other thing is ESA has been a huge topic with new strategies coming out from EPA this last year. we have been inundated. No offense, Marie, she just works there. So I think we're going to want to talk about all the different strategies coming out on ESA and the impacts in the state of Washington. So those are the hot ones I'm thinking of for now.
Mute, sorry. Thank you, Robin. Once you were speaking, we had one come from Craig Blackwood from LNI. Since this is an advisory board to WSDA, should we discuss how the agency wants to take in advice when those times come? How do people feel about that topic?
Craig feels pretty good about it.
Craig, I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe you could explain or expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we're here to help out, provide advice on pesticides. And usually there's a process. We have voting members, we have non-voting. And what does it look like to give WSDA what they need from the various people you have assembled here? It seems like how we do whatever it is we do, we should figure that out early on.
Good point. We may want to establish bylaws or some basic parameters on how we do that.
Okay, we have another one. Matt Harris kind of dovetailed what Robin was talking about, would like EPA to give an update regarding bulletins, herbicide, and sensitive species rules. We have a thumbs up with that. Oh, and definitely if you're using acronyms, make sure that you use what they stand for. That was a really good suggestion, Craig. We have a hand up. Let me see. I'm on my Ray. I'd like to open the board to you.
Yeah, hi. One of the things that we had talked about with enterprise services was per the state contract on pesticide use, to screen the products that are available on that contract based on risk assessment of actual use. So that's what we did here at WashDOT, and it seemed to really help as far as getting the public off our back as far as critical of our use. So we had talked to enterprise services. I don't think anybody's from enterprise services is on the board, are they? So that might be a missing piece. But anyway, that is a major, I mean, WashDOT uses the majority of the products on that contract, but there's another side contract that allows the counties to order products that were not screened through our risk assessment. So anyway, it's just a little bit, I don't know, it's just an issue. We don't necessarily have to deal with it right away, but I think eventually that's something that we'd want to get to is how we should handle sort of a second tier risk assessment on actual use by state agencies.
Thank you, Ray. And I'll open the floor to Dave Heimer. He had a input as well.
No, I just didn't hear what Robin said. Robin mentioned something and I missed what she said on one of the topics. I heard about the EPA, the one right before the EPA. So if she could just repeat herself.
Hi, Dave.
On the neonics. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned three things. We have rulemaking going on related to
neonics.
Pesticide licensing and recertification.
Yeah.
There is a neonic bill that either will be dropped or has been dropped by a senator related to some restrictions on neonic use in the state of Washington. Neonics are also known as neonicotinoids. It's a classification of insecticides that was considered much softer chemistry than the old chemistries. Now there's some more chronic issues, and there's a lot of folks that want to protect pollinators and wanting more regulation of them. And so there's been a proposal for that. And then the third thing was ESA, Endangered Species Act, and I apologize for using acronyms. The Endangered Species Act has been in effect since I think 1973, something like that. And it is a U.S. Fish and Wildlife statute and it protects endangered species and threatened species across the US. EPA has been consulting on that. They finally started consulting after a lawsuit that was entered from the state of Washington's organization here called Washington Toxics Coalition back in 2000, related to salmon protection. And anyway, we're seeing some changes on labeling coming through related to endangered species and the consultations between U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the National Marine Fisheries Service, and EPA. But recently, EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, assuming everyone knows who they are, but they have been working on new strategies based on pesticide type, primarily rodenticides, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, and then one on a vulnerable species pilot strategy to try to maybe get through some of the restrictions and mitigation measures to protect endangered species at a faster pace than they're making through their individual product registration reviews. So anyway, there's been a lot going on related to Endangered Species Act and consultation with EPA over the last year. And there was something in the chat from Marie Hallinan at EPA. I think she wanted to say something, Wendy Sue, but that's what I was saying before, but more verbose, David, sorry. Hope that's helpful.
Marie had mentioned that she could make a request for an Environmental Protection Agency speaker on endangered species for the next meeting. So thank you, Marie. I'll reach out to you. Also had, unless you have anything else to add, Marie.
That's about it, Wendy Sue. Someone, maybe from Headwaters can come. We can contribute to the discussion.
Thank you. I'd also like to, from the chat, Matt Harris had suggested that he would also like information on the application of LNI heat rules and pesticide applications. I think that's a good topic. Brad across from me shaking his head, yes.
And we'd be glad to do it. And if you want, our wildfire smoke rules are about to be public, and so we'll have those in place too if you want to include that. But whatever you want, it would be good. Bradley and I can do it, or have someone on our behalf to do it.
Thank you very much. I have a hand up. Eleanor, if you would like to, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I think, we're hearing a lot of really great ideas for specific topics and so on, but I do want to go back to the point that was raised earlier about process. I know process is a little tedious, but I think it's really, really important to spend a little time in one of our early meetings to address that point about how we convey advice, right? So does this board need to come to consensus on advice? Would there be majority and minority opinions? How do we want to think about really conveying the work of the board back to WASDA, and what are the parameters there? So I would just suggest that we spend a little time at the outset thinking that through. Thanks.
I completely agree. I'm a big process person, so we definitely will add that to the agenda. Kelly Davis has her hand up. Maybe I should wait to speak after she.
I just wanted, I know that there's several board members that were on the previous Pesticide Advisory Board, and it might be a good idea to ask them what was the process back in those years. Maybe the process has already been invented. Maybe when it's no reason why we need to reinvent the wheel if there was a process that worked for them back in the years when the original Pesticide Advisory Board was active.
Kelly, thank you very much. I definitely had that in my back of my mind. Ray, I think you said you'd been on the board before.
Yeah,
but any recollection?
That was a long time ago. I don't have any recollection, no. We also had the IPM advisory board for a while there. So there are a couple of ag-based groups that were working on these issues. So, but sorry, I can't recall.
worries. No worries. And Eleanor brought up a really great point, and what did and did not work well about the previous group too. So see another hand up. Robin, floor is yours.
Thank you. I really appreciate that comment, Eleanor, and I don't really like the whole process stuff. I'm not big on that just because it takes so much time. It's very necessary. It's not my favorite thing. I'd rather talk science and issues, but however, really important. And I was going to ask if Larry Treelevin, if you're still on, I don't remember by the time I got on the board, or wasn't on the board, but when I attended the meetings, we didn't have a process to share board advice out. It was a different time frame and different operations than today. Do you remember anything, Larry, from that previous board? And did you guys have a standard operating practice or bylaws or anything that were established? I haven't found anything.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was the board chair for 2 terms, and those were 2-year terms, by the way, that we established before. And I was elected to serve another term, not because of my expertise in being the chair, but I think it was nobody else wanted the job. Okay. And we just mostly came by consensus. And I think, Alan, I think you were on that board with me as well. And I think Ray was, but that's what we did. We just reasoned together and tried to come up with, these were only recommendations because we had no authority to do it, make any decisions, but we made recommendations to the various agencies. But we got input from so many of them along the way. Does that answer your question?
Really helpful. Thank you, Larry. Yes.
Definitely. Thank you, Larry.
I think
Alan,
Dave Heimer was also on the board, and Alan. So yeah, please let us know your thoughts.
Alan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, some things I actually have to look at my CV to figure out what I did and what I did and when I did. I don't know anymore. But if I remember at the time, the department would maybe bring up issues to get feedback from us. So they kind of wanted some guidance in how to proceed with something. So it was really boards are really a feedback mechanism because, boards don't make rules, but, to put together the rules, you just have to have everybody's opinion. There's not necessarily consensus, but there are ideas to mesh out that, once it goes to rule, it goes out for public comment. So it was really a feedback mechanism at the behest of the department itself, I think.
And I would second that. I think that's what I experienced as an agency manager when I went to the board to talk with the board, was to get their feedback on what they thought of what we were doing, and they would tell us. It was great to get feedback.
Great conversations. Thank you. Any other discussions? I'll put my email in the chat. If anybody has any further topics, definitely send them to me. Oops. Oops. Okay. Anything else for the good of the discussion?
Wendy Sue, I just want to say, I'm sorry, Kelly, go ahead. I want to go over.
Oh, I just wanted to mention, Wendy Sue, if it's all right with you, we'll have Savannah send out a hold the date to all the board members for Wednesday, March 27th from 10 to 2, location to be determined. Would that
Great.
be all right? Okay.
Please, thank you. That's great.
Bet.
Robin, the floor is yours.
I guess, and this seems like such a simple thing, but at some point the board, like the chair or the board will need to decide how much communication they need and how far in advance of meetings. And I don't know if we have to, describe that here, but I would hope that we would reach out to folks within the month, by sometime in January to ask for topics and then repeat that so that we have a agenda maybe a month in advance. Those are just, my general ideas. And again, we don't have to decide it here, but that might be another topic for the next meeting to talk about how often for communication, how far in advance of meetings do you need notice or request for agenda items? Off the top of my head.
Thank you, Robin. Bradley and I are having a sidebar conversation about how our calendars are definitely filling up. So we want to get on people's calendars. Kelly, I'll turn things back over to you unless you can give me direction on where to go from here.
Right. Well, I don't think I have too much more to add. I just a reminder that we'll have the meeting recording available via a link on the Pesticide Advisory Board webpage. And then once the written minutes are completed, those will be posted there as well. And if there's no more business, I'll have the chair ask for a motion to adjourn in a second, and we'll get on with our day.
I'd like to stop just for a second.
Sure.
Before we adjourn.
Go ahead.
I would like to recognize Kelly Davis, and though she's short this board a very short period of time, but she has done a tremendous amount for pesticides and agriculture here in Washington State. So hats off to you, and we thank you so much for your dedication, your direction that you've given so many of us, and everything you've done. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic to work with.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's kind of bittersweet. I'm going off into retirement, but I'm certainly going to miss this.
Well, we're definitely going to miss you, but your spirit will definitely be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And your impact will live on.
Oh, thank you.
Now you can adjourn.
All right. So, did you want to ask for a motion to adjourn, Wendy Sue, or would you?
I think, yeah, this is Matt from the Potato Commission. You can check Robert's rules, but I don't believe you need a motion to adjourn. I believe the chair has the authority to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
That is correct.
That's good.
Any further discussion? Then I will adjourn this meeting. I thank you everyone for your time, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Look
you,
forward
everyone.
to seeing you
Bye,
in
everyone.
March.
Bye-bye.
Best of luck, Kelly.